Again, this is not your typical overpowered MC manhwa, because this story is very different. In this manhwa, our main protagonist suddenly gets transported to another world, and ends up becoming the owner of a small bookstore. To him, he's just a normal guy who sells ordinary books, but what he doesn't realize is that the books he gives to people are far beyond their comprehension, because these books were actually written by the devil himself. And the craziest part? Our MC has no idea that he possesses the devil's true power. So while he thinks he's just a normal bookstore owner, everyone else in this world sees him as something far more terrifying. The story opens on a black cat perched high above the streets, watching the city below with quiet, knowing eyes. A voice cuts through the sound of pouring rain. The weather today is absolutely miserable. It's been raining heavily all day, and they're saying it won't stop for a week. The observatory has already issued a yellow weather warning. A red warning is expected to follow soon. The bookstore, through the downpour, a warm light glows from a single storefront. An open sign hangs in the window, the only shop on the entire street that hasn't closed its doors. Inside, a young man pulls a book from the shelf and sighs contentedly. What a tremendous amount of rain. Looks like no customers again today. But then he pauses, and a slow smile spreads across his face. Then again, someone out there might have forgotten their umbrella. Someone who desperately needs shelter from the storm. That's exactly why I kept my shop open. He nods to himself, clearly pleased. I'm such a good person. I truly am. I just hope whoever walks through that door appreciates my generosity, and maybe, just maybe, becomes a loyal customer. He surveys his preparations with quiet pride. Hot tea, ready. A warm towel, laid out. The heater humming softly. Everyone who experiences my kindness will absolutely buy a book. This is going to be fantastic. Outside, the full moon cuts through the storm clouds, brilliant and cold. And beneath it, a girl is running. She moves like a storm herself. Anyone who gets in her way goes down. She doesn't slow, doesn't hesitate, using just 2 fingers to deflect incoming attacks and dismantle everyone who comes at her. Pursuers flood in from every direction, and she takes them apart one by one. Then from behind, 2 hands reach for her. The man doesn't even get the chance to react. Her hand closes around his throat, and it's over. She releases him and steps back, pressing a hand to her side where blood is seeping through. She exhales slowly. Finally, it's done. She takes stock of her injuries with clinical calm. Feels like 4, maybe 5 broken ribs. Nothing critical. I've stopped the bleeding, but regeneration will take time. At least 30 minutes. I need somewhere safe to wait it out. She pulls her hood tighter and looks around. I need somewhere to hide. Somewhere to buy myself time. Behind her, the bodies of her pursuers are scattered across the alleyway. Whoever she is very, very good at what she does. She drifts through the empty streets and then stops. A light, warm and steady, cutting through the rain. A bookstore, open. She stares at it. Out of every single shop on this street, only a bookstore is open in weather like this. She approaches the door slowly, her eyes scanning everything. Is this a coincidence or a trap? Someone luring me in? She glances at her wound. The blood hasn't stopped. It doesn't matter. I need cover. I need time. I'm going in. She pushes the door open. A small bell chimes overhead. The warmth of the shop wraps around her immediately. From behind the counter, the young man looks up, and his face breaks into a wide, welcoming smile. Welcome. I've been waiting for you. A beautiful customer who fought her way through the rain just to get here. He studies her for just a fraction of a second longer than necessary. Something flickers in his expression. No matter how I look at her, this girl has a story. Something happened to her tonight. I just need to give her a little nudge in the right direction, and she'll definitely buy a book. That's my therapy technique. He holds out a neatly folded towel. I have a hot towel ready for you to dry off, and I'll turn the heater up as well. The girl takes the towel slowly. Her eyes don't leave him. He was waiting for me. He had everything prepared, exactly what I needed. A normal bookstore doesn't operate like this. This is not a coincidence. She dabs at her face and says carefully, "Thank you. You can leave the heater. I don't need it." But her mind is already running through possibilities. What organization does he belong to? Secret Instrument Tower? The True Society? Someone hired him, set this whole thing up. This man is not a normal bookstore owner. Something about him is completely off. And behind him, barely visible, something like energy seems to radiate outward. Just for a moment, she keeps her voice steady. "You said you were waiting for me. What did you mean by that?" The young man extends his hand toward her with a warm smile. Destiny is a remarkable thing, isn't it? 2 strangers, brought together by a storm. And looking at you, I can tell you've been through something difficult tonight. He thinks to himself, step 1 of the therapy technique, suggestion. Tell the customer they seem troubled. Everyone has something going on in their life. It makes them feel understood, gets them to open up. The girl blinks, caught completely off guard. He said exactly one thing, and it hit exactly the right nerve. Either he's guessing, or he already knows something about me. The young man gestures to a chair across from him. "Please, have a seat. We can talk." She sits, and her mind races. An outsider who somehow knew about the betrayal within our organization and figured it out this quickly? That's not possible unless he's at the very top of this. Unless he controls everything from above, from the very beginning. She keeps her expression expression neutral. I was betrayed, she says quietly. Everything. It was all someone else's fault. The young man nods slowly and begins to speak. The spurred magic mirror, he says, is a magical bee's egg, one that draws in the souls of others. And because of it, bonds that were built over generations have been torn apart. Greed took over. People now sacrifice their own allies for profit, hiring outside killers to do the work. He pauses thoughtfully. It's truly a terrible thing. Internally, his mind is spinning. This is brutal. Her husband must have betrayed her, made her the other woman. Oh wow, this is actually fascinating. This is going to be even easier to work with than I thought. He leans forward slightly and says, every painful situation has two sides. I believe you when you say you were betrayed, but even so, this could be an opportunity for you. The young man leans forward and continues, his voice warm and measured. You could meet someone new, start fresh, get to know someone different. The girl listens, and something in his words lands harder than she expects. He speaks as though he already knows everything from the very beginning. She turns it over in her mind, and he's not wrong. As long as greed exists, this will keep happening. Different reasons, different timing, but the same outcome every single time. It never stops. She exhales quietly. You're right. I've lost everything. I've been hurt deeply. So what's even the point of meeting someone new? The young man, whose name, we'll learn, is Lingi, absorbs her words with practiced calm. Lost everything. Deeply hurt. Got it. She's been betrayed. She must be feeling absolutely terrible right now. This is my moment. I just need to use the right words to comfort her, and the sale is basically done. He speaks gently. Of course there's a point. Now you know the difference. Who is real and who isn't. Whoever hurt you, whoever betrayed you, you won't show them an ounce of mercy. Not even those closest to you, if they prove themselves false. That includes the master. The girl goes completely still. That's why he was waiting for me. He wanted to use me to eliminate the hunters. He's clever. Dangerously so. He knows about the hunters. This bookshop owner is a high-level black mage. She keeps her expression perfectly neutral. So then, what do you think I should do? Lingi tilts his head thoughtfully. They've abandoned their humanity entirely. An eye for an eye. A tooth for a tooth. He thinks. Rule 3. Target the situation. Tell the customer exactly what they want to hear. That's what sets you apart. That's what builds the bond. The girl's eyes sharpen. What do you mean they've lost their humanity? I haven't even mentally prepared myself for that yet. Lingi doesn't miss a beat. He reaches beneath the counter, draws out a book, and places it gently on the desk in front of her. I think you need this. She looks down at the cover. Blood and Beast. Her brow furrows. Blood and Beast. I've never heard of this title. Why is he giving me this? And then, in her mind's eye, the book falls open. Blood pours from the pages. It takes shape. A monster, rising from the crimson flood, reaching for her, wrapping around her, pulling her down. Tentacles. Everywhere. She screams. She snaps back to reality. It was her imagination. Her instincts running wild. Lingi calmly explains the concept behind the book, lycanthropy, a power that lives in the blood. Hunters draw strength from dream beasts, collecting blood from powerful creatures and rare individuals, injecting it into themselves to grow stronger. The purer the blood, the more powerful the hunter becomes. But there are side effects, and this man, this seemingly ordinary bookshop owner, understands blood control. He understands the entire power structure that hunters depend on. I can't believe it, she thinks. She reaches out and takes the book. Is this what you wanted? For me to take this? Yes, Lingi says simply, and you have nothing to regret. Face yourself honestly. Together. Lingi picks up his teacup and raises it. To new beginnings, cheers. She raises hers and clinks it against his. Thank you for your guidance. I'll follow your advice. And she drinks the tea in one swift go. Lingi stares. That was scalding hot. You actually drank all of it? She doesn't react at all. I just wanted to warm your stomach a little, he says, genuinely impressed despite himself. You are something else. He slides a small card across the counter. Could you fill this out for me, please? Her hands, still slightly unsteady from fear, fill in the card. She slides it back. Lingi glances at the name. Ji Yiju. He pauses. Ji Yiju, that name. There was a famous millionaire from the underground world, Ji Bona. Could this be his daughter? His eyes light up internally. If she is, this is a very big fish. I could turn this into something serious. Money? No, better than money. I could get her to renovate this entire store. This is incredible, but I need to play this slowly. Lock in a long-term arrangement first. He stands and speaks professionally. The loan period for the book is 1 month. You can extend it further if needed. He reaches under the counter and produces an umbrella, holding it out toward her. It's raining heavily tonight. Please take this, but do remember, you'll need to return it. She takes the umbrella. Thank you for everything. She turns to leave, then pauses at the door and looks back. May I know your name? Lingi blinks. Did I accidentally flirt with her? No, that's not what happened. But sure, my name is Lingi, he says with a small smile. I'm just a normal bookstore owner. The girl processes his answer. He won't reveal his true identity, but whatever he is, I need him on my side. Well then, Mr. Lin, she says quietly. Have a good evening. You as well, he replies. Get home safely and come back again. Just a good person. The door closes. The bell chimes chimes softly. Lingi drops into his chair with a long exhale and a deeply satisfied smile. I've done another good deed today. Helping others truly is its own reward. He gazes around his quiet little shop. This must be why I was brought into this world. He begins tidying up cups, towels, the counter, humming contentedly to himself. Lingi sets down his cup and claps his hands together with quiet satisfaction. All right, time to get ready for the next customer. Someone else is bound to walk through that door tonight. Outside, the girl, the Ji-Hiju, moves through the rain-soaked alleyways, her mind still turning over everything that just happened. That man was terrifying. He wanted me to deal with the traitors before the deadline, and he told me to come back. She pauses. What exactly was he trying to tell me? Her eyes snap to movement in the street ahead. Every instinct fires at once. She pulls back into the shadows, every muscle tense. A figure is approaching through the rain, hooded, a book tucked under one arm. He passes by without stopping, without even glancing at her. She watches him go, completely still, barely breathing. The scene shifts. We're in a library now, orderly, dim, quiet. Lingi pulls a book from the shelf. The title reads, Rituals and Folklaws. The author's name on the spine, Lingi. Our protagonist wrote it himself. He stares at the cover for a long moment. Looking at these books always brings the memories back. Before the transmigration, my world was completely different. I lived in a city called Nakan. That was almost 3 years ago now. The year is 2017. Lingi, in this memory, is a professor of folklore. A young woman approaches from across the reading room. Mr. Lin, the library is closing soon. Aren't you heading out? Not yet, he says without looking up. I'll read a little longer. Go ahead, I'll lock up. All right, see you tomorrow, Mr. Lin. She leaves, but outside, another woman is waiting for her. Is he still in there? It's so late. The first woman nods. He loves his books more than anything. I heard he spends his entire salary on his collection. The second woman sighs. That's too much. He really shouldn't spend that way. Inside, Lingi hears every word. He doesn't react. The library empties. The building goes dark. Lingi slips into a back room and locks the door behind him. In the center of the floor, a summoning circle, carefully and precisely drawn. He steps into the middle of it and looks down at his work. My preparation is finally complete. He closes his eyes. I know this wish is no different from a dream. I know it won't come true, but if there is even a 1% chance, I will take it, whatever the price. He places his hand at the center of the circle and speaks clearly. Please, make me the owner of every book in this world. Silence. Nothing happens. Lingi opens his eyes, and the hope drains from his face. He lets out a long breath and drops his head. Just as I expected, it didn't work. But then, a hand reaches out from behind him. He spins around. A massive presence fills the room, vast and dark and watching. The magic circle, a voice seems to say without words, will grant any wish. But every wish has a price. Before Lingi can process what he's seeing, he feels it. Something behind him. Something that wasn't there a moment ago. He turns slowly. A door has appeared in the middle of the room. On its surface, the symbol of an eye. Lingi stares at it, and somehow, he understands. In that moment, I knew, if I opened that door, I would reach my dream. I could actually achieve it, but the price was clear. I would never return to Earth. He pauses. I didn't hesitate. I reached out and opened it. The memory dissolves. Lingi is back in his bookshop, holding a warm cup of tea, gazing at nothing in particular. After I opened that door, I found myself in this city. Noken. Time really does pass quickly. Living here isn't as difficult as it used to be. If I'm being honest, I actually enjoy it. Every day someone new knocks on my door, and that's fine, because I can always refresh my shelves with new books. My collection never runs dry. I get to read something new every day. I get to help my customers find exactly what they need. Being a living, breathing teacher, that's far more satisfying than I ever expected. He sets his cup down with a small smile. It's been too long since I added a new regular. My people skills are far from rusty. Something tells me that young lady tonight will be very happy, and she'll be back. Back on the street, Ji-Hiju is frozen. Not metaphorically, literally frozen. The hooded figure she spotted earlier has walked right past her, and in passing, something he carried has rendered her completely still. She cannot move her body, cannot lift her arms, cannot even turn her head. What is happening to me? I can't move, not even my hands. The old man stops. He turns back and looks at the book she's holding, the one Lingi gave her. Oh, he says softly, with something like recognition. So that's the book. You really are quite lucky. But to Hiju, it doesn't feel like luck. It feels like a snake has wrapped itself around her entire body, squeezing tighter with every second. The old man turns fully, and she sees the book in his own hands, the Akashagarbha Sutra. Then he walks away. Just like that, the paralysis releases. Hiju staggers to the nearest wall and sinks against it, catching her breath. That was him. But that can't be right. Could he already be? Before she can finish the thought, she spots the old man again. He's standing in front of Lingi's bookshop. He pushes the door open. The bell chimes. Lingi looks up, and his face shifts into easy recognition. Old wildly, are you here to return the book? The old man smiles and makes his way to the counter. Lingi steps forward to meet him, and outside in the rain, Hiju watches through the window. She listens. The old man sighs. Must you always call me that? Can't you use my real name, Mr. Lin? Of course, Mr. Wildly, Lingi says cheerfully. The old man looks more irritated than before. Never mind. I saw you had a new customer tonight. You gave her one of the famous books. I did, Lingi says. I thought it suited her. The old man reaches into his coat and produces the book he borrowed. Here, the one you lent me. Returned as promised. Lingi takes it and gives a knowing look. I told you this book wasn't right for you. It would only confuse you, nothing more. But you didn't listen. The old man waves a hand. I realized at the moment I opened it. Whoever wrote this was operating on a completely different level. I genuinely cannot imagine the kind of person who could write something like this. Lingi sets the book down. That person was a lunatic. Also, my old friend. A beat. Not surprising at all. Outside, pressed against the wall in the rain, Hiju processes everything she just heard. Her eyes go wide. I was right. That man, he's a black slate, baseless Frank Wildly, a destructive black mage, and the pieces begin to fall into place. According to the Truth Society, mutants in this world are divided into 4 distinct classifications. The Truth Society divides mutants into 4 distinct categories, known as the APDI classification: abnormal, panicky, destructive, inscribable. Frank Wildly falls under the category of black scale, faceless, a destructive black mage. His signature features are the mask he always wears, and the green pupils that come from his half-serpent bloodline. The scale of his power is almost incomprehensible. In a single battle against one of the tower's 10 holy knights, he leveled 10,000 square kilometers of land, flattening it completely. That battle is how he earned the title, Destructive. To put that into perspective, in the entire upper zone, there are perhaps 10 destructive level mutants. Across the whole city, fewer than 100. Outside the bookshop, Hiju presses her hand against the wall, and the sheer pressure of her grip cracks the stone beneath her fingers. That man, Lingi, he can hold a casual conversation with a destructive level mutant. He treats him like a regular customer. No fear, no tension. She steps back into the rain. He is not an ordinary person. He never was. And she walks away into the dark, her mind already working. Back inside the shop, Lingi pulls a book from the shelf and glances over at his old visitor. Old Wildly, you seem to be in a particularly bad mood tonight. If you ever need help with something, just ask. Don't suffer in silence. He thinks privately. Frank Wildly is one of my most loyal regulars. Coming here has become part of his routine. I think when you get to a certain age and find yourself alone, you need someone friendly to talk to, someone who actually listens. He pauses, recalling what he knows. He has 2 children, but neither of them treats him well. His lover left him long ago. His colleagues are all afraid of his face, so he's alone. A powerful, ancient, deeply lonely old man. Lingi smiles quietly to himself. The first time I met him was 2 years ago. The bookshop, quieter, a little emptier. The door opens and Frank Wildly steps in for the first time, masked, well-dressed, deliberately hiding his face. Lingi looks up and his instincts sharpen immediately. My bookseller's intuition is telling me this customer has a story. His clothes say he's wealthy. He's intentionally concealing his face. He reads widely, probably a scholar. His spiritual life feels empty, like someone who's been running on pure intellect for too long. He thinks he wants to heal something inside himself. If I handle this well, he could become a regular. Wildly speaks gruffly. You're the shopkeeper here? Do you collect old books? I have one that's been with me for many years. Would you take it? Lingi examines the book carefully, then looks up. Yes, this shop offers several kinds of services. Just one moment. He moves to prepare tea. I'll use this to break down the wall between us, he thinks. No need, Wildly says quickly. I should warn you, the markings on my face are quite alarming. It might disturb you. Lingi doesn't even pause. You're my guest. Why would I be disturbed? And for the record, I have no patience for people who judge others by their face rather than their heart. That's not who I am. A long silence. Then, slowly, Frank Wildly reaches up and removes his mask. You're right, he says quietly. I'll accept the tea. Lingi looks at his face and thinks, not with horror, but with quiet understanding. He uses the mask to hide his wounds. I won't dig into that. It would only hurt him. What I can see is that he's devoted enormous energy to studying different languages. That's my way in. Wildly sips the tea. This is very good. Thank you for the service. As long as you're satisfied, Lingi says warmly. He sets the old book on the counter and studies it. The book you brought, it's uncommon. The language used in it is a dying one, and the words themselves, they feel charged with something, like magic woven into the ink. Quite impressive, actually. Wildly's eyes snap up. He stares at Lingi, completely still. How can he feel that? I wrote this book myself using magic. I concealed it behind my highest level exhaust technique. Not even a destructive level mutant should be able to sense it. So how is a bookshop owner? He recalibrates quickly. He's been treating me completely normally since I walked in. No fear, no reverence, no suspicion. I can't even detect his aura. But this body, this person, is definitely not ordinary. Wildly keeps his voice even. I have a deep interest in languages. I've studied many. Do you research in this area? Is there anything specific on your mind? Not exactly. exactly, Lingi says casually, but I've read books from many different traditions, and I have several in stock. He thinks scholars who live alone tend to grow used to solitude, but they despise being ignored. They live for the moment someone actually engages with their expertise. I'll use that. He reaches beneath the counter and produces a book. I'd like to recommend this one, Vince Bayside. He sets it down in front of Wildly. He thinks to himself, the so-called devil's language, the most complex dialect ever recorded in the ancient world. You said you've studied many languages. Let's see how you handle this one. Wildly looks at the cover. His teacup slips from his fingers and shatters on the floor. He stares at the book, trembling slightly. The devil's language, he breathes. This is real. This is an actual devil's language text. Lingi watches him and thinks serenely, yes, that worked perfectly. I am genuinely brilliant. Wildly looks up sharply. This is extraordinarily rare. Where did you get this? Lingi freezes internally. How do I answer that? I got it from China. But China doesn't exist in this world. He steadies himself and speaks carefully. It came from an ancient civilization, one that no longer exists. They had only one language, but it's a painful memory. I was never able to go back. He lets a trace of genuine sadness color the words. Wildly watches him and reads between the lines. An ancient lost civilization. He speaks of it with real grief. He must have some personal connection to it, and yet his aura remains completely unreadable. Whatever kind of creature this person is, he is deeply interesting. Lingi looks up with a warm smile. What should I call you? By the way, Frank Wildly, the old man says, though there's no need to make a point of it. And you, may I know your name? Lingi, he says simply, and that was how it began. Frank Wildly settles into his usual chair and wraps both hands around his teacup. It's not a major problem, but my research has hit a wall. I can't seem to move forward. That said, the book you gave me, the devil's language text, it opened a completely new avenue for me. I just need more clues to fully decode it. Lingi jots a note down quietly and thinks to himself. He calls it the devil's language. That nickname is genuinely terrible, but I'm not going to say that to his face. He'd take it personally. He looks up. So you're looking for more books in a similar vein, something that connects to what you've already been studying. Wildly nods. Snow, heavy and silent, blanketing everything in white. A young man with silver white hair trudges through it, reaching his destination at last, his face bright with anticipation. Before him, bound to a great chair, sits an enormous figure, ancient, immovable, a being known only as the Joint. The Joint opens his eyes and speaks a single word, die. The white-haired man staggers. The air around him begins to spin. Reality itself seems to bend. So this is the power of a mage, he thinks, fighting to stay upright. Magic is the power of language, the power of words. White mages inscribe space itself. Black mages enchant through incantation. And if a black mage ever hears the true voice of your soul, they can craft a language unique to you, one capable of reaching the inscribable level. The memory dissolves. We're back in the bookshop. The silver-haired man, startled awake from the memory, is Frank Wildly himself. Younger, once, now old and searching. He blinks and refocuses. Yes, the language in that book. It feels like part of a larger linguistic family, connected to a culture I know almost nothing about. I need to understand the culture first. Only then can I truly understand the text. Lingi listens carefully and thinks, I'll need a little time to find the right match for this. Let me think. Wildly sips his tea and waits. And while he waits, he thinks, Mr. Lin is genuinely selfless. 2 years ago, when I lost my hand in that battle with Com Joseph, he showed me a path forward when I had none. He even talked me back from the darkest thoughts I'd had in years. He's a good person, a truly good person. He turns the teacup in his hand slowly. A master like him must have studied under a sage who reached the inscribable level. It's been 2 years now, and thanks to the books he's given me, I finally have a clue about that orbital. I should tell him. I want him to know what kind of difference he's made. Lingi's eyes travel across the shelves and land on a particular spine. Rituals and folk laws. His own handwriting on the cover. He hesitates, then reaches for it. I apologize for keeping you waiting so long. Not at all, Wildly says. Lingi holds the book out, and there's just the faintest trace of shyness in his expression. This is a bold move on my part, but I genuinely believe this book was made for you. Wildly takes it, turns it over, studies the cover. His eyes find the author's name. Lingi. He looks up sharply. You wrote this? Yes, Lingi says simply. It's my own work. I put everything I had into it. Wildly stares at the book, and his thoughts race. Rituals and folk laws. The faith worship the Truth Society. The moon worships the church. The Church of the Lake worships the Great Walls. These are the 3 religions I know, the ones most people follow. But this book, it's filled with content that borders on forbidden territory, evil orders, ancient rites. Whoever wrote this, he looks at Lingi carefully. Is this your field of research? Rituals? It was, Lingi says, and something shifts in his voice. A long time ago. I've since changed my perspective. It's not something I speak about much. Wildly thinks. He changed his views a long time ago. A powerful scholar who once studied forbidden subjects and then walked away from it. That explains why Mr. Lin keeps himself hidden. He's protecting something, or protecting himself. himself. Wildly examines the book more closely. This is handwritten. It hasn't been printed. There was an accident, Lingi says quietly. I was never able to publish it. This is the only copy I have. He thinks privately, and his hands tremble almost imperceptibly. If I had never come to this world, I would have had a real title by now. A proper professorship. Something connected to the 6 Fox Lords lineage of folklore. Wildly notices the trembling. He doesn't say anything, but he notices. Lingi steadies himself and looks up. We know each other well enough by now. I can lend you this book, no conditions. I recommended it myself, after all, but if you're not comfortable, you can always return it. Wildly is quiet for a moment. This is an extraordinarily valuable book, unpublished, one of a kind, and you're offering it to an old man who has nothing particularly useful left to contribute. He pauses and forces himself to say what's actually on his mind. I feel terrible accepting something like this. Are you using me as some kind of subject? Lingi looks at him and then steps around the counter and places a hand on his shoulder. Don't worry about any of that, old Wildly. His voice is completely genuine. A book only truly comes to life when someone reads it. If you read this, I'll know whether what I wrote was worth anything. That's enough for me. He waves a hand lightly. As for the book itself, it doesn't matter to me. I have the knowledge in my head. That can never be stolen. The only things that can be stolen are money and fame, and I couldn't care less about either. Those things are worthless to me. He meets Wildly's eyes. Do you understand, old Wildly? A long silence. Frank Wildly, ancient, powerful, feared by nearly everyone who has ever encountered him, sits completely still. Then he reaches out and takes the book. Lingi watches him go and thinks warmly. He took it. Good. Then, more quietly, that was my last appeal to his soul. Exactly the kind of thing a lonely old man, rejected by the whole world, needed to hear. Lingi looks at Wildly steadily and speaks with quiet conviction. You probably feel like you need fame and money to fill something inside yourself, but that kind of mindset, at your age, is like a slow poison. It will eat away at your health before you even notice. He pauses. I hope this experience taught you something. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. You need to let people closer to you, old Wildly. That's all. Wildly sits with the words for a moment. Then he nods slowly. Yes, I understand. Thank you for your guidance. But privately, his interpretation is entirely different. Fame and money are worthless. He's warning me not to tell anyone about him. He wants his identity kept secret. Lingi smiles warmly. I'm glad you understood, and I'd be very happy if you recommended that book to others. Wildly stands and thinks. He wants me to promote it, spread his reach. Well, before I go recommending anything, I need to read every word carefully first. I can't go around telling people about it without understanding it fully, and I certainly can't let anyone trace it back to him. I'll share it quietly, through word of mouth, so no one can pinpoint the source. He tucks the book away carefully. Then he reaches into his coat and produces something, placing it gently on the counter. For your guidance. You've been directing me for years now. Please accept this as a small token of my gratitude. I hope it suits you. It's a gargoyle statue, small but exquisitely crafted. Lingi studies it with genuine curiosity. It's not particularly valuable, Wildly says modestly, but given everything you've done for me, it's the least I can do. Please take it. What he doesn't say out loud, what he thinks privately, is quite different. My teacher gave me this gargoyle when I graduated. He spoke of it at great length. Exceptional magic resistance, thick hide, teeth and claws sharp as razors. It can identify killers on its own. In actual combat, it's comparable to an elite knight, and I'm giving it to this man like it's nothing. Lingi picks it up and turns it over in his hands. His eyes light up. You really are too kind, old Wildly. How can you say this is invaluable? The craftsmanship alone is extraordinary. It feels almost alive. He sets it down on the counter with a satisfied nod. Even setting aside its worth as a token from you, this means something to me. I feel like it could ward off bad energy just by being here. He grins. The artistry genuinely suits me. I'll look forward to whatever you bring next time. Wildly allows himself a small, rare smile. I'm glad you like it. He thinks. The gargoyle is nothing compared to the book he gave me. He could buy 1,000 like it, but he accepted it graciously, complimented it, and didn't make me feel small for a second. Mr. Lin really is something else. He adjusts his hat and turns toward the door. I'll be going now. Next time, I'll bring something more worthy of you. What he means privately, worthy of someone at the inscribable level. I'll look forward to it, Lingi says warmly. Until next time. The door closes. Lingi flips the sign to closed and locks up for the night. He sets the gargoyle on the desk and examines it again with quiet amusement. I wonder if old Wildly is planning to bring a matching pair so I can display them together. Is this one male or female? He squints at it. Actually, this thing is surprisingly dramatic looking. He straightens up and stretches. Alright, that's enough for today. Time for bed. A good attitude brings good luck, and today was a good day. He turns off the light and heads toward the back, but as he passes his desk, something catches his eye. A drop of ink on the desktop, spreading slowly, as if writing itself. He leans in. The ink spells out 2 words. Long time no see. Lingi goes completely still. Then, carefully, he speaks. So, it's you. He pulls out a chair and sits down, his voice measured but alert. You're the one who sent me to this strange world. It's been 3 full years since we last spoke. He watches the desk. You've appeared, which means the price is due. Tell me what you need. He thinks privately. It came here, so it must be friendly toward me. It's not going to ask for something outrageous. Probably something unusual, something I won't be able to refuse. New ink forms on the desk. Your price has already been paid. That is why I have awakened. Lingi blinks. Wait, he sits forward. The book I recommended to old Wildly. That's connected to this, isn't it? The ink responds. Yes. Lingi exhales slowly. So that's all you wanted from me. Every time I recommend my book to someone, my price gets paid. And you benefit from that. Yes, that is how it works. You will continue to pay this way. Lingi stares at the desk for a long moment. Well, no problems then. The price is paid. The ink fades. The presence, whatever it was, withdraws. The room is quiet again. Lingi sits alone, staring at the empty desktop. Outside, on a balcony overlooking the street, a man watches the bookshop below. He puts a phone to his ear. Sir, this is Jack. I've noticed something unusual in the Noken district. Black Scale Faceless, Wildly himself, just spent nearly an hour inside what appears to be an ordinary bookshop. That's highly suspicious. I believe this store may be a gathering point for black mages. The voice on the other end sharpens immediately. A gathering point? That's significant intelligence. I'll organize this and pass it to Sir Joseph. Give me more details, and get out of there quickly. You could be in danger. Understood, sir. Jack lowers the phone, and hears a voice directly behind him. Well, a very brave little rat. Jack spins around, cold sweat breaking across his entire body, but he barely completes the turn. Frank Wildly places one hand on top of his head, and speaks a single word. Die. The spy crumples instantly. The phone hits the ground. A tinny voice still calls out from the speaker. Hello, Jack? What happened? Talk to me. Wildly crushes the phone beneath his foot. He looks down at the man on the ground with something between contempt and calm. How dare you spy on this place? I showed you mercy by killing you quickly. He straightens his coat. Anything slower would have been a far worse price to pay, and he walks away into the dark. A knock at the door. Sir Knight, I have something unusual to report. From inside, a calm voice responds. Come in, Claude. The door opens. Inside, a man sits behind a desk, removing his glasses with deliberate ease. One look at him tells you everything. His right arm is entirely mechanical. This is Sir Knight, and the air around him carries the weight of someone who has seen far too many battles to be rattled by anything ordinary. Claude steps inside and closes the door behind him. Sir Knight speaks before Claude can begin. Tell me, is it the magic mirror situation? The hunters? One of the heroes living in the Noken district? If it's none of those, fair warning, I am thoroughly enjoying my retirement, and whoever interrupted it will need to answer for that personally. He drives his fist into the desk. A visible crack spreads across the surface. Claude flinches. Sir, please, your actions. You're being a little energetic. There's no need for that level of. Claude. Yes, sir. What's the information? And did you lock the door properly? Claude goes pale. Sir, I apologize. This is a new case. Sir Knight's eyes sharpen immediately. A new case. Tell me, what kind of case is worse than those wild dogs out there? Claude straightens himself and begins. One of our agents was monitoring 23 Noken Street, an area where hunter activity has been extremely high recently, with multiple casualties. According to his report, Wildly was seen there, alive. The room goes very still. Sir Knight's jaw tightens. He grinds his teeth. Who? Frank Wildly, destructive black mage, also known as Black Scale Faceless. He disappeared after the Battle of White Hells 2 years ago. We maintained a bounty on him. No one found a trace. We assumed he was dead. Sir Knight is out of his chair before Claude finishes the sentence, energy visibly radiating from his body. Naturally, no one knows that diamond better than I do. He raises his mechanical arm. So he finally crawled out of his hole. Of all places, Noken. No one would have guessed. I'm going to go find him personally, cave his skull in, hold what's left in my hands, and blast it apart. He fixes Claude with a sharp look. What was he doing on 23rd Street? Claude shifts uncomfortably. The report is limited, sir. Wildly eliminated our agent before he could gather more details. What we know is this. Wildly visited what appears to be a normal bookstore and spent approximately 1 hour inside. He may have borrowed or purchased a book. Sir Knight stares. Then the vein in his temple pulses. A black mage, one who bends words themselves into weapons of destruction, went to buy a book. That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. He narrows his eyes. Did you investigate the bookstore's background? Yes, sir. The store is a branch of the Ash Merchant Group, which means our hands are somewhat tied. It's been operating for 3 years with a clean reputation, though customer numbers are notably low. The strangest detail is that the owner is not a local. He came from somewhere else. We initially suspected the store might be a gathering point for black mages, but we can't confirm that. What's stopping you from confirming it? The Ash Merchant Group, sir. They're affiliated with the Druids, followers of nature and the forest. They have never been involved with black mages. Not once. Sir Knight's fist clenches slowly. Claude sees it and takes a half step back. Sir, if we make any sudden moves, we risk damaging the Ash Merchant Group's image. And if that happens, the secret instrument tower could retaliate. We need to be careful. Sir Knight turns and drives his fist into the wall. Those parasites who live off others make my blood boil. Claude thinks quietly. The druids don't live off others. That's not even remotely accurate. What is he even saying? Sir Knight spins around. What are you thinking right now? You think I'm talking nonsense, don't you? Claude immediately straightens. Absolutely not, sir. I would never. You are exceptional in every. Sir Knight crosses the room in 3 strides, aura flaring around him. Claude freezes. Tell me, what is our Knight Order's mission? To eliminate evil, Claude says quickly, and to destroy all that is wicked, whatever the cost, and restore peace to this world. Exactly. Sir Knight steps back and points. If that is our purpose, we cannot tolerate a single act of evil. Everything must be dealt with. Everything. He crosses his arms, wildly stopped at a bookstore. For a full hour, you genuinely believe, in your heart, that a destructive level black mage sat down in a bookshop, read a book, and had a quiet cup of tea? Sir, I'm telling you, that is apparently what happened. Claude, sir, if you actually believe that, I will kick you so hard you'll remember it for the rest of your life. Claude swallows hard. Sir, with respect, the Ash Merchant Group funds 40% of our operations. That has to factor into any decision we make here. The fury drains out of Sir Knight's expression, replaced by something far more uncomfortable. Silence. A long, heavy silence stretches between them. Then, without a word, Sir Knight reaches for his coat. He pulls it on slowly. Fine. I'll go check myself. I'll determine whether that bookstore is what it claims to be, or something else entirely. Yes, sir, Claude says quietly. Sir Knight walks out. As he moves through the hallways, the sheer scale of the operation becomes clear. Briefing rooms, training halls, battle chambers, logistics wings. This is no small outfit. This is a serious, deeply resourced military order. Personnel snap to attention as he passes. Good afternoon, sir. Sir Ready Knight. Have you eaten, sir? My regards to you. Sir Knight acknowledges none of it, moving with the focused stride of someone who has already made up his mind. He reaches the lift, steps inside, and presses the button for the ground floor. As the lift descends, he unfolds a piece of paper in his mechanical hand and studies it. It's a profile. Detailed, thorough. Every piece of information gathered on the owner of that bookstore. The name at the top, Lingi. Sir Knight stares at Lingi's profile in the dim light of the elevator. I'll come meet you personally. Let's see exactly what kind of person you are. But then, without warning, something happens to his body. He grabs his eye. No, not again. I'm hallucinating. But why now? A sword materializes before him, gleaming, ancient, heavy with something dark. The magic sword Candelacre. It's activated again. The elevator disappears. The world around him dissolves. He's underwater, pressure closing in from every direction. Tentacles curl around his limbs, dragging him deeper. An elven soldier in heavy armor appears above him, pushing him down, into the dark. His eyes snap open. He's standing in a street, rain falling around him. The alley near the bookshop. He gasps, catching his breath. How did I end up here? He steadies himself against the wall, breathing hard. It seems I won't be visiting that bookstore today after all. He glances at the sword now resting at his side. Quiet again. For now, the curse of Candelacre is unlike anything else. When the original owner dies, the sword carries on, and it will drive anyone to madness eventually. Only a knight of exceptional power and character can bear it. He straightens up and walks into the rain. I'm still looking for the next person worthy of carrying this. Everyone thinks I'm ready to pass it on. Ready to what? Meet some young successor? I'm an old man who can barely walk straight in the rain. He disappears into the downpour. Elsewhere in the city, a very different scene. Bodies scattered across the ground, limbs twisted at impossible angles. Someone tore through this place like a storm. A man surveys the carnage with cold, detached interest. Impressive. What a mess they've made. This is Helix, leader of the White Wolf faction. He looks around at the fallen and tilts his head slowly. It seems they severely underestimated the young lady. She is the second in command. After all, did they really think she'd be easy? He pauses. None of your subordinates will be of much use now. The fear has already gotten into them. A voice calls from behind him. Casper. Fire burns in the distance. A woman stands at the center of it, completely still, as soldiers rush her from every direction. Die, you monster. She doesn't move. She doesn't even flinch. One by one, they fall. She turns to the man beside her. Max situation report. Max steps forward. Ma'am, confirmed. Helix is a puppet of the magic mirror. He's completely lost his mind and has begun eliminating all hunters without mercy. No exceptions. No survivors. The woman, Jihyou, former second in command of the White Wolf, feels her hands tremble slightly. So it was him all along. Max lands beside her. Ma'am, we're outnumbered. Helix has allied with 3rd Commander Casper and doubled his forces. At this rate, we won't hold much longer. A second woman approaches from the shadows. Helix is formidable, and he's extremely close to the White Wolf's panicky faction. I believe the transfers were arranged specifically for today. This entire thing was planned long in advance. None of us saw it coming. She pauses. That's also why I want you to know, I never betrayed you. He was the one orchestrating everything. I despise him. Ji-yu looks at her and nods. K, thank you. You changed your clothes, dealt with the monsters, and got me out alive. If not for you, I wouldn't be standing here. I owe you that. K lights up, visibly moved. She thinks quietly. I don't know what she went through before she came back, but since her return, she's been able to suppress the side effects of degraded blood entirely. A normal hunter simply cannot do that. She is the purest form of destruction I have ever seen. A third voice cuts in, a man named Red Ryan, the White Wolf's intelligence officer. Goddess, Helix and his people are strong, but none of them can face a true panicky hunter. The moment you transform, Helix, Casper, all of them go to their knees. It doesn't matter how many they have. Ji-yu breathes slowly. She composes herself. Surround yourself with people who fight for the right reasons. Stay calm. Stay focused. Behind her, Kay is barely suppressing her fury. I cannot stand that man. Why is he even here? Max quietly keeps her from doing anything rash. Ji-yu watches and notices the loyalty mark on Kay's neck. Something in her expression softens. At least I can trust her. That mark, the loyalty seal, tells me everything. Both Kay and Max resisted the mind corruption from the major magic puppets. That's because of the dream cast by the white mage. She raises her voice, steady and clear. We stand against painted blood. We fight to end the cruel beasts that prey on this world. That is the path we chose. We will not turn back from it. Not now. Not ever. Max straightens. Understood, ma'am. Kay nods. We need to be careful. They vastly outnumber us. The spy in their ranks says nothing. Ji-yu looks ahead. We move forward. There's no point in staying here. This is our final battle. Everyone, prepare yourselves. A massive gate, ancient stone, sealed for what feels like an eternity. An axe swings, and the gate falls open. They pour inside, and standing directly in their path, a figure, still, waiting. They move closer, and the details become clear. A scythe has passed clean through his torso. Blood soaks his clothes, and yet he's still upright, still breathing. This is Casper, third in command of the White Wolf. Kay steps forward, voice sharp. Casper, are you alone? Tell me, where is Helix? Casper laughs. Something about it is wrong. Immediately, instinctively, Kay senses it. Something isn't right here. She places her hand on his shoulder. The moment she touches him, Casper's laughter escalates. Wild, uncontrolled. He begins moving erratically, like something inside him has completely broken free. Ji-yu spins around. Max, the syringe. Now, Max reaches into his coat and pulls it out, pressing it into Ji-yu's hand in one fluid motion. She drives it into Casper's body without hesitation. The syringe empties, and then Casper begins to transform. His teeth sharpen. His face contorts as coarse hair spreads rapidly across his skin. His body shifts, bends, expands. Ji-yu grabs him by the collar and looks him in the eyes. Tell me where Helix is.